Hello and welcome to the Who the Fuck is in the Mirror podcast. I'm Angela Spooner, your host, emotional intelligence guide, trauma-informed coach, yoga instructor, confident, badass single mom of 3 amazing children, and founder of Unabashedly You. This podcast is all about using books, analogies, and metaphors to dive deep into who you really are to yourselves, not just as parents or some fictional version others made you out to be, right? But who the fuck you are. I want you to find your confidently badass, secure version of you that you lost along the way, or maybe you never even had in the first place because you were busy with everyone and everything else. Does that sound about right? So how about we get into the science of why we are a bunch of fucked up individuals who look in the mirror and don't even recognize the person that's staring back. Join me in the best journey you'll ever experience. Why, you may ask? Because it is the journey to transform your self-doubt, insecurity, and overall dysfunctional brain into self-aware, badass confidence and understanding. I hope you're as excited as I am because I cannot wait to get into this.
Welcome to the carnival. Welcome to the carnival.
Like sands of time in the hourglass, these are the days of our lives. I'm just kidding, guys. Remember that? Days of our lives. Anyway, how are we feeling, everyone? Woo, woo. We're going to be going over chapter 5 of The Body Keeps the Score, which is dealing with body and brain connections, all connected together. First off, let's say a little quote by Mickey Hart. Life is about rhythm. We vibrate. Our hearts are pumping blood. We are a rhythm machine. That's what we are. I love that. So, speaking of rhythm and heart and pumping blood, Darwin wrote a book in 1872. It's called The Expression of the Emotions in Man and Animals, which was an extraordinary exploration of the foundations of emotional life, filled with observations and anecdotes drawn from decades of inquiry, as well as close to home stories of Darwin's childhood, not his childhood, but his children and his household pets, okay? So Darwin, basically in this book, he's comparing us to animals. He says when a man sneers or snarls at another with the corner of the canine, right, or eye tooth raised on the side facing the man whom he addresses. I think I said that totally fucking wrong. Oh, when a man sneers or snarls at another, is the corner of the canine or eye tooth raised on the side facing the man whom he addresses. There we go. That sounded fucking better, right? So there's 2 pictures, right? One is of a woman snarling at the picture taker. She's lifting her like a Sylvester Stallone thing, with just the one side up. And the other is an animal. I'm gonna say it's a dog or something, and it's snarling, and it's doing the same thing with raising the lip. So what Darwin says is that humans have some physical signs similar to an animal's physical signs when it comes to emotions, such as the teeth, but also, for instance, like the hair on the back of your neck standing up when you're frightened. So I honestly have never really looked at the back of my hair, but I have seen it when somebody's upset, the hair will kind of stand up, right? So basically, this episode is not about me sitting here and explaining why we're like animals or why animals are like us, right? This is not an anthropomorphic podcast. But the point here Kolk is attempting to make is that emotions give shape and direction to whatever we do, and their primary expression is through the muscles of the face and body. These facial and physical movements communicate our mental state and intention to others. So let's talk about some of these emotions, right? That we can witness that Kolk talks about. I don't know why I'm having problems talking today, so just fucking bear with me, guys. So let's talk about anger. Then we have sadness and we have fear. So anger, angry expressions or threatening postures, kind of like when you see that dog that's not fucking around, right? He will tear you apart if he's given the chance. Or like that kid who gets tired of getting picked on and their fists get clenched, their veins emerge on the neck and arms, their eyes constrict some, their lips purse, and you know shit is about to hit the fan, right? Guess what the other person is doing? They're like, oh, fuck, getting the fuck out of there. That's what they're doing. That's that's them saying, I want no parts of that shit, Ricky Bobby. Fuck that. So what about sadness, right? Well, sadness usually softens your heart is more soft, makes people gravitate towards you with empathy, care, concern. In most cases, that is. But as with any emotion, it all depends on how it's being exemplified. If that child who cries about everything is screaming bloody murder, head tossed back, laying on the ground defeated, that, my friend, may not make us so inclined to gravitate towards and be as empathetic of the child, right? Then again, that is showing emotions. So in my brain, why is that child feeling like they need to act like the world just ended? What are your emotions as you watch that? I'm just trying to take a little deeper look into our brain-body connections and how and why we react the way we do to emotions, right? So why are we getting so frustrated by them? Are we really mad at them throwing fits? Or is it rather the fact that they are showing sides of us that we wish we could do? Like when they throw their head back and they're throwing a fit. Where in that are we not able to do that? We were told we weren't allowed to when we were younger, right? Or we were told that we were being too much when we showed our emotions, or we were told to shut the fuck up, right? All of these things could be reasons why they're triggering us. Moving on, let's talk about fear. Kolk mentions fear signaling helplessness or alerts us to danger. Now, this could be exemplified in anyone, right? The abuser or the abused, which goes back to the very point Darwin is saying that mammalian emotions are fundamentally rooted in biology. You can mask your emotions or physical reactions during the emotions, but we all experience them. The abuser, the abused, we all experience these emotions. Little facial twitches or hand motions. Like, what about your eye twitching, right? Or corner of your mouth raising slightly, like we were talking earlier. There is things like dilation or constriction of your eyes, or the pitch of your voice that gets higher when your pulse starts to race, or the nervous laugh when your kids decide to let others know, right? The filter you have about them when they aren't around. You know what I'm talking about, right? Like those times when you're like talking to yourself, but you're talking out loud. So your kids are present and so they hear you. So the next time you say hi to that same person that you were talking to yourself about, quote unquote, right? Your child feels the need to say, but mom, didn't you just say the other day that you hated saying hi to them because their breath stank so bad? Right. All the while, the bad breath individual is standing right there staring at you both. Fucking kids. Am I right? There's just no filter. They just say stuff, right? But the point of all of this is that these biological, physical emotions are the normal bodily and facial movements that are not able to be covered up as easily because they tend to happen. Okay, so you have these ones that are you have these ones that you can hide, and you have these ones that you are not able to hide. These emotions, the facial expressions, the bodily movements, your biological processes inside your body, they all happen. Okay. It is just the way our bodies work, whether you're animal or human. Darwin says that the fundamental purpose of emotions is to initiate movements that will restore the organism to safety and physical equilibrium. So basically, Kolk says if we have an organism stuck in survival mode, its energies are focused on fighting off unseen enemies, which leaves no room for nurture, care, or love. For us humans, it means that as long as the mind is defending itself against invisible assaults, our closest bonds are threatened, along with our ability to imagine, plan, play, learn, and pay attention to other people's needs. So we've talked about this, but of course, talking about it more is always essential, right? Because we can't remember everything that we fucking hear in one episode of a podcast, right? So we have our autonomic nervous system. Within that, we have the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. There always needs to be a balance. We cannot have our fight and flight, which is our sympathetic nervous system, in full activation at all times because our body will want to fight anything and everything. Have you ever spoken to someone who was like beaten or abused, maybe a child, woman, man? Their ability to play, learn, and pay attention is definitely at a deficit due to their lack of their parasympathetic nervous system reciprocal, right? They have to go back to the regulation. So whenever you're feeling tired, what do you have to do? You sleep so that you can go back and get the reciprocal. You have to go back and forth. It is all about your body maintaining the balance. So when you meet these people that are beaten or abused, right, they would rather escape and avoid, as Darwin says, due to functioning with the emotions. So they don't want to function with their emotions. The sympathetic nervous system moves blood faster through your body to your muscles so you can get the fuck out of there. You're like, whoa, I'm feeling these emotions. Get the fuck out, right? Have you ever exploded at someone to avoid or escape feeling feelings? Oh, no. No. Are you crying? Ooh. And you're like, I can't. So instead of like being empathetic, you like explode at them. Or maybe you're talking to your child about something. They say something that's triggering for you. And instead of feeling that and truly communicating with them how that made you feel, you explode at them. Boy, if you don't go on, beat your ass. Yes, I will. Basically, what's happening, your body is in hyperarousal. And like we've talked about previously, it is unable to regulate and release acetylcholine with the parasympathetic nervous system because the sympathetic nervous system was prolonged for too long at some point in your life. And now that is the new normal. It is so easy to be impulsive and reactive to situations instead of taking a step back and actually regulating your body and thinking before you do the reaction part, right? Prefrontal cortex. We've talked about this. So let's talk a little about the intense emotions that evolve more than just the brain, right? We've talked about this in previous episodes, but Darwin says that the heart, gut, and brain communicate intimately via the pneumogastric nerve, aka the vagus nerve, the critical nerve involved in the expression and management of emotions in both humans and animals. I personally always used to laugh at the idea of someone saying their heart hurt, right? But when you understand that the vagus nerve is branching out to not only the brain, but the lungs, heart, stomach, and intestines, once you know that, then it makes way more sense why we feel nauseous, have difficulty breathing, feel like we just got kicked in the gut, we get chest pains, all in different scenarios that we experience externally, and we have a problem with understanding it. It is our vagus nerve. This is managing all of this. Our body is reading the room, essentially, and reacting to the external stimuli. If you're in a combative relationship, or we're in one where the other person in the relationship was constantly berating and belittling you, then when you hear that same tone in a new relationship, your body might react as it would in the old relationship. It fucking sucks. I know it does, but at least you know what the fuck is going on. You aren't broken, and no, you aren't a crazy psychopath. And no, your stomach is not being stabbed, nor are you having an actual heart attack. I actually dated someone that, I think I'm having a heart attack. It could be a panic attack. I need you to take a deep breath, calm it down, because your vagus nerve is like going haywire right now. Shit's hitting the fan inside your body. It is all about your body adjusting to the environment from what it knows. It is noticing it that begins the process for healing, though. Not noticing you're doing it, because that's what makes you shame yourself. What I mean is that noticing that the reason you are reacting or feeling the way you do may not have anything to do with what is actually taking place. Or maybe it's that you are feeling a certain way because you can feel the energy from someone else. Their body language, facial expressions, tone, and the list could go on. Hey. We interrupt this wonderful podcast episode hosted by yours truly, Angela, to let you know and remind you that we have my app out on Apple. Don't know what's up with Google, but it is out. It's called Unabashedly You. And on it, I have yoga classes. I have a 6-week challenge to prioritize you, moms, not your kids. I also have one-on-one coaching. If you want to move through all your trauma, you want to get past this, you want to feel badass, confident, sexy in your own skin, reduce your anxiety, download my app. Let me know. Reach out to me, guys. This app was built for all of you to learn how to validate yourselves, love yourselves, not have to get validation from someone else, learn how to fully accept all parts of you. The yoga, I do slow, fast, roundabout, all the different things, okay? It's a lot of fun. I try to keep it interesting. I have meditation and mindfulness on there. I have different packages. So just reach out to me. Let me know. I would love to hear from you. And you guys have a wonderful time listening to the rest of this podcast. How about this? Have you ever gone out with friends and you felt queasy and you didn't know why? Or you're at a party, but you don't feel like you're really at the party? Could it be that you don't just need to loosen up and stop being such a pussy, but rather that your body is feeling the energies of the people around you and the environment doesn't feel supportive, safe, or have a sense of reciprocity where you can feel comfortable to calm the stimulation of your adrenal glands, pumping that adrenaline that you're getting, and you can actually increase your acetylcholine to help calm and relax your body. Instead of feeling that, what do? We fucking take a shot, right? Because that's what everyone else is doing. Or we sit there awkwardly trying to push ourselves to make ourselves think that it's all right to not feel comfortable. It's like you're just overthinking it. Calm the fuck down, Angela. God, I fucking can't with you. Just stop it already. Enjoy yourself, right? See, Kolk says that all mental suffering involves either trouble in creating workable and satisfying relationships or difficulties in regulating arousal, as in the case of habitually becoming enraged, shut down, overexcited, or disorganized. This means that you aren't a fucked up piece of shit or a shit show that can't be cool anymore. You're just suffering mentally and trying to ignore what your body and brain are trying to communicate to you. It's like that kid that's trying to talk to you and you just won't fucking listen to him, right? Mom, what? Instead of just letting them talk and letting them be them, right? Or they're showing you, or like, have you ever had a kid try and show you how they're feeling, but they don't verbalize it. They just show you with how they're acting, right? Maybe they can't stay still. Maybe they're running around constantly. They're screaming. They're yelling. They're just super dysregulated, right? And you're just, all you can think about is how badly you just want them to shut the fuck up. It's a true thing. It is not that they are the problem or you are the problem. If we don't feel safe around the people we are putting ourselves around, then how will we ever be able to rebuild our brain to learn reciprocity so that we can teach it to our kids? So if you're going out in that environment and you don't feel safe around these people to be yourself and you don't even know what being yourself is, then how can you balance on the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system and maintain mental equilibrium if you don't feel your environment has safety and kindness to make appropriate connections by feeling truly heard and seen? What do they say? It's like every time's the first time with you, you know? I can't tell you how many times I've said that to myself, by the way, where I'm like looking in the mirror and I'm like, it's like every time's the first time with you, Angela. It's like a whole new world with you. Don't you dare close your eyes. Yeah, I said it. It's like Aladdin. Sorry, guys. You know the song, right? A whole new world. You're welcome. All right. So I do want to say that I completely agree with Kolk. Social support is the most powerful protection against becoming overwhelmed by stress and trauma. So if you are in that social environment that is not, it doesn't feel like there's protection against becoming overwhelmed by stress and trauma, if you feel more dysregulation, then your social support may not be the best support for you. When I began my healing, it became clear to me that I wasn't struggling because I was evil. I thought that about myself for the longest. I'm fucking stupid. I'm evil. What the fuck is wrong with me? Why can't I be a better person? I was struggling because the people I placed around me thought it was boring and annoying to feel and be vulnerable and loving. They aren't horrible people, by the way. I just needed to find people who would be on the same page as me and make me feel like it was okay to have emotions and express them. I could safely cry and unleash the pain that I had been holding within so that I could begin to regulate my emotions and reactions in a more controlled way. It takes time and a lot of giving in to not having to be right all the time, but slowly my regulation is rebuilding. But listen, that doesn't mean we just say fuck it and we drop everyone and we join a small group of like-minded people so we don't have to accept that there are differences. Just like Koch says, well-functioning people are able to accept individual differences and acknowledge the humanity of others. Believe me, this one was so fucking hard for me. My narrow mind couldn't see past what I thought to be right or wrong. Like, shit, I still struggle with it, okay? But that's where learning and growing can truly take place. So I have to be in that level of safety. So there's 3 levels of safety that Kolk talks about. There's social engagement, fight or flight, freeze and collapse. Freeze or collapse. Okay? So when we hit these levels, there's different reactions. Okay? So first, we'll talk about social engagement. This is the first level for when we feel threatened. This is the animal call, I'll call it, right? The caw. We're calling out for help or to be supported, or maybe we just want comfort, right? All we want is to be able to feel that safety. This is also when we're able to engage our ventral vagal complex. Remember how we talked about the vagus nerve and how it branches out? Well, according to Kolk, when the ventral vagal complex is engaged, this is a part of the vagus nerve, one of the branches. It also sends signals down to your heart and lungs, slowing down our heart rate and increasing the depth of breath. As a result, we feel calm and relaxed, centered, or pleasurably aroused. We're not like, right? So if we get that love and safety and belonging that when we do our call, our kaka, right, to others, then we're able to get aroused. I mean, pleasurably aroused. Oh God. Fucking Angela, right? I just can't with myself. Anyways, so when it's not achieved, when we can't get back to that regulation, fight or flight comes in. This is where we get that boost or energy from the blood pumping to our muscles so we can get the hell out of the situation, right? Our sympathetic nervous system jumps in and our limbic brain comes into action. Remember your limbic system? That's where your emotions and reactions are associated with past experiences as well, right? Your brain subconsciously remembers how shit went down before, and you're like, fuck that. Before you can even respond appropriately from your prefrontal cortex, like we talked about previously. This is why things like yoga, breath work, karate for rape survivors, theater, pranayama, which is also called breath work, chanting, singing, dancing, they're all good for restructuring and reorganizing their perception of danger and allowing the prefrontal cortex to actually kick in so that you're thinking more clearly and having more appropriate reactions. However, if the fight or flight fails, then we go into the next one, which is our freeze and collapse. Our organism is shutting down as a self-preservation technique because resistance is futile, right? And we are just wasting our energy. So what do? Preserve it. So when this happens, it's our dorsal vagal complex. This is a different branch of the vagus nerve, okay? This one comes in at this point, and Kolk says it reaches down below the diaphragm to the stomach, kidneys, and intestines and drastically reduces metabolism throughout the body. Heart plunges. We feel our heart literally feels like it drops. We can't breathe. Our gut starts working or empties, literally scaring the shit out of us. We can become nauseous, have diarrhea, lose all awareness, and can't even register physical pain. We feel like nothing matters at this point, and we become completely numb to the world and ourselves. So we go from panic and rage in fight or flight to shutting down and becoming dead to the world. Most of us would rather feel the energy rather than the dead inside feeling, right? When Kolk said this right here, let me read it. That is why so many abused and traumatized people feel fully alive in the face of actual danger while they go numb in situations that are more complex but objectively safe, like birthday parties or family dinners. I was like, holy fuck. Yes, Kolk. That's totally what my problem is, okay? I never understood that, so I thought I was just a fucking horrible person. Like, why couldn't I actually feel at this birthday party? But I could totally feel if I got into a fight at the birthday party, right? If you're just sitting there in the birthday party, it was so impossible for me to feel feelings. This is why isolating from socializing can be so dangerous. It makes us stay in our own thoughts and minds and forces an inability to look at other viewpoints, opinions, beliefs, or values. We see the world as black and white through our own thought processing and ignore any ideas that we could be over dramatizing things or having delusions of grandeur or just plain making everything attitude or behavior wise that people have and do a personal vendetta against us. That is why we can sit there at that birthday party and feel blah. And then we get inside our head and we're like, that bitch is staring at me. And it's a kid's birthday party. And we're like, who the fuck does that little lady hoo-ha think she is? Who you think you are, lint liquor? Who you calling cootie queen? Well, I said it backwards, but you know what I'm talking about, guys, right? You know the commercial. I love that. Where like the lady, it's all about like gum and the lady's coming up and she's talking shit to the other lady and she's all, who you calling cootie queen, you lit liquor? Anyways, sorry guys. That's me deflecting from this conversation. Anyways. So remember what Ed Tronick says. The brain is a cultural organ. Experiencing and shaping the brain. Okay, so the brain is a cultural organ. Experience, shape the brain. Experience shapes your brain. If we experienced anger and downgrading or degrading and bullying at a young age, then we may show those patterns in our adult lives, like wanting to fight somebody at a birthday party, right? Or if a young girl was sexually abused or physically abused, she may be more inclined to the sexual industry or more aggressive sexual tendencies or even domestic violence. This is why Kolk says that after trauma, the world is experienced with a different nervous system that has an altered perception of risk and safety. These are all experiences that have shaped your brain. It does not mean you cannot reshape it to your liking. It just means that shit happens and we are the ones who choose what to do with it and how to do it. So look, okay, why am I saying all this stuff? I'm saying all this stuff because our body is communicating to us. We have just been so numb to our body and its reactions because we've gone to every single stage, right? And in that third stage, that's where we start feeling that numbness and like nobody else matters because we've been in this fight and flight for so long and we feel like nobody's coming to our rescue and we can't get out of it. And it just keeps getting worse and worse. And then we fall down into feeling numb and we're feeling nauseous. I remember when I hit that level, I would feel nothing. When my kids would get hurt, when I would get hurt, when somebody cried, I would be like, shut the fuck up. I need to go smoke another cigarette. It's not easy to get out of this stage. It's not easy to go back to the social engagement stage, but you can only do it with time, healing, learning, growing, sucking it the fuck up, basically. So just as clay can be dry and it looks useless, but you can work it and get moisturizes, it can get moisturized and molded again, right? So too, we have this ability to remold our future and become the badasses that learn, grow, and help other people who see no hope in their own future. So Kolk says that yelling at someone who is already out of control can only lead to further dysregulation. Each one of us can reach one of us. We must first help ourselves so that we are able to help others. In other words, we must first learn to not yell at ourselves when we're mentally out of control. Stop blaming yourselves for being fucked up. Stop blaming others for being fucked up. We are not here to shame or berate ourselves. We are here to learn that we are able to have compassion when it comes to our own dysregulated selves so that we can grow when it comes to our dysregulated children, friends, family, and relationships. No one person is better or worse than another. We are not victims. We are humans. We're all fucked up. But remember, that's not fucked up. I hope if you guys take nothing else from this episode, you remember to just notice your body and start having compassion for how your body is feeling. Stop torturing yourself. We want our kids to not torture themselves and call themselves stupid or ugly or any of those things, right? So do it yourself. Learn how to love yourself. And if you don't know how to love yourself, I have a fucking program for that. The 6-week challenge for you to prioritize yourself, learn yourself, understand yourself, and become an unabashedly you version that's not scared to make changes and that has the ability to become this 2.0 badass version. I hope you guys have a wonderful motherfucking day. Don't forget to like, don't forget to download, share it with your friends, family, anybody. Let me know in the comments. And I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your week. I'll talk to you next week.